My girlfriend left me the same day I got fired. She said, I can't date an unemployed guy. I stayed quiet, because I knew something she didn't, that I already had things in motion she had no clue about. A few weeks later, she saw me stepping out of a new car. My phone instantly filled with her messages. And the reply I sent was a shock she wasn't ready for. I'm 29, and up until 3 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I'd been with Brooke, that's what I'll call her here, for about 2 years. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming party, bonded over our shared obsession with true crime podcasts and terrible reality TV, and things just felt easy. Or so I thought. I was working at a mid-sized tech consultancy firm, nothing glamorous, but the pay was solid, and I'd been there nearly 5 years. My manager trusted me with major clients, and I was up for a senior position that would have meant a significant raise. Brooke worked as an assistant manager at a boutique hotel downtown, always complaining about difficult guests and her inconsistent schedule, but never seriously looking for anything else. She rented a small studio that her aunt owned at a discounted rate, and we'd casually mention moving in together when the time was right. That time never seemed to arrive, but I didn't push. The day everything fell apart was a Thursday. I remember because Thursdays were client review days, and I was supposed to present a major strategy overhaul that afternoon. Instead, at 9:32 a.m., I got a calendar invite marked urgent from my director and someone from HR I'd never met. They were pivoting the business model. My entire division was being eliminated, merged with an overseas team to cut costs. They offered me a lateral move to a different department, but it would have meant a 25% pay cut and working night shifts to align with international time zones. I asked if I could think it over. We need your decision by Monday, my director said, barely looking up from her laptop. I walked out of that building at 10:15 with a cardboard box containing my desk plant, a coffee mug, and some random cables I'd probably never use. My chest felt tight. Not panic exactly, just this surreal sense of disorientation. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 30 minutes before I even thought to message Brooke. Something came up at work. Can we talk tonight? She replied within a minute. OMG, what happened? I'll explain when I see you. Dinner at Rossi's? Okay. 7:30. Perfect. I drove home in a daze and sat on my couch staring at my phone. The severance packet sat on my kitchen counter, still in its sealed envelope. I knew roughly what it contained. 3 months' salary, benefits continuation for 60 days, and some boilerplate corporate speak about exciting new opportunities. What I didn't know yet was that I'd set something in motion 2 months earlier that was about to flip my entire world upside down. See, I've been working on something on the side. One of those projects you start because a friend asks for help and you're curious, not because you think it'll actually amount to anything. My college roommate, Tyler, had launched a startup about 14 months ago, an app that used AI to help restaurants optimize their menus based on real-time ingredient costs and customer preferences. Back in February, he'd reached out asking if I'd consult on their go-to-market strategy, maybe help them refine their pitch deck for investors. I agreed, figuring it would give me something interesting to do on weekends. He couldn't pay much cash up front, just a small monthly consulting fee, but he offered me equity as compensation, 4% of the company. I signed the documents on a lazy Sunday afternoon, barely skimming them, thinking it would be a fun side project and nothing more. Then, about 8 weeks before I got fired, Tyler called me at 10:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Bro, he said, and his voice was shaking. We just closed our Series A. Your what? Series of funding round. $6.5 million. This is actually happening. I sat up straight. Brooke was watching TV next to me. Wait, so what does that mean for your 4%? On paper right now? Around $260,000. But our lead investor thinks if we execute properly and get acquired within 3 years like they're projecting, we're talking potential 7-figure exit for early equity holders. I didn't tell anyone. Not Brooke, not my parents, nobody. It felt too uncertain, too much like counting chickens before they hatched. And honestly, part of me wanted to see if it was legitimate before I got anyone excited, including myself. At 7:30 p.m., I met Brooke at Rossi's, our regular Italian spot. She was already in our usual booth, scrolling through Instagram, looking mildly irritated. I slid in across from her. Hey, I said. Hey. She glanced up briefly. So what's the emergency? I got laid off today. Her eyes widened. What? Company restructuring. Entire division. They offered me something else, but it's basically a demotion with a huge pay cut. Are you kidding me right now? Her voice had an edge to it. No, I'm not kidding. I'm trying to figure out my next move. So you're just unemployed? Technically, yes, but I've got severance, and I'm already networking for. Oh my God. She set her phone down hard on the table. This is actually perfect timing. What do you mean? She looked at me like I should already understand. I mean, I can't deal with this right now. Deal with what? Dating someone who's unstable, who doesn't have their life together. I'm 27 years old. I can't be with someone who's just floundering. I felt something cold spread through my chest. Brooke, it's been like 8 hours. That's not my point. Then what is your point? She sighed dramatically, like I was being deliberately difficult. Look, I've been questioning this for a while anyway. We're stagnant. You're a good guy, but I don't know. I need someone who's moving forward, not sideways. You've been questioning us? For how long? And you're bringing this up now. Well, this kind of confirms my concerns, doesn't it? She grabbed her jacket from the seat. I'm sorry. I really am. But I can't date an unemployed guy. I just can't. She stood up. I just sat there, staring at the breadsticks neither of us had touched. Brooke, I'll send you money for my half of the streaming services. Take care. And she walked out. Just like that. The server came by a minute later asking if we were ready to order, and I had to explain that my dining companion had left. I went home, opened a beer, and finally tore open the severance envelope. 3 months' salary, $19,500. Insurance paperwork. A letter about career transition services. I actually laughed out loud in my empty apartment. Then I called Tyler. How soon could I actually do something with that equity? I asked. What's going on? Got fired today. Then dumped. Same day. Real banner, Thursday. Jesus, man. That's brutal. I'm sorry. Don't be. Answer the question. Well, you can't liquidate it yet since we're private. But we're about to scale up aggressively. I could bring you on full-time as Chief Marketing Officer if you're interested. Salary would start at $82,000. Plus your equity stays completely intact, and you'd be on the ground floor as we grow. Honestly, better trajectory than most corporate jobs. When could I start? Next Monday work for you? I'll be there. Update 1. I started at Tyler's company the following Monday. Only told my parents and my brother, who were all relieved I'd bounced back so quickly. Brooke and I had plenty of mutual friends, but I kept completely quiet about the new role. She'd already updated her relationship status to single and posted some inspirational quote about releasing what no longer serves you. The work was relentless. Startup culture isn't like corporate life. There are no pointless meetings, no politics, no coasting. But I genuinely enjoyed it. For the first time in years, I felt like I was building something that mattered. We were scaling fast. By week 2, we'd signed our first major restaurant chain. By week 5, Tyler was in talks with another investor group about potential Series B funding. I kept my social media presence minimal. Didn't post about the job, didn't update LinkedIn with the new position. I wasn't hiding exactly, just not broadcasting. Then, about 6 weeks after the breakup, I decided to do something for myself. We'd just received our first quarterly commission checks, and I'd been driving the same beat-up 2011 Toyota Corolla since my early 20s. I wasn't trying to show off, but I'd always wanted something nicer. So I went to a dealership and bought a certified pre-owned BMW 3 Series. Nothing outrageous. 4 years old, clean history, but it was sleek and silver and completely mine. I was leaving a grocery store on a Saturday morning when I spotted her. Brooke was across the parking lot with some guy I'd never seen before, laughing at something on his phone. She looked up at exactly the wrong moment, or maybe the right moment, and saw me walking toward my car. I watched her face cycle through confusion, then recognition, then something I couldn't quite identify. I didn't stop, just gave a small nod and got in. My phone started exploding about 15 minutes later. Was that you? Since when do you have a BMW? Did you get a new job? Why didn't you say anything? We should talk. Seriously, can we please talk? I was back at my apartment, putting groceries away, genuinely debating whether to respond at all. Eventually, I typed. Started a new position a while back. Things are going well. Hope you're good too. She called immediately. I declined. She called again, and again, for times in 10 minutes. Finally, I answered. Yeah. Where are you working? No greeting, no pretense. A tech startup. I'm the marketing director. Since when? Since literally the week after you ended things. Long pause. Why didn't you tell me? We weren't together anymore. Didn't think it was relevant to you. I would have wanted to know. Look, can we meet? I think we need to talk. About what exactly? About us. I think I made a huge mistake. I almost laughed out loud. You were pretty definitive about how you felt. I was scared, okay? I panicked. You have to understand where I was coming from. I don't have to understand anything. You made your choice. It was clear. Please. Just coffee. 1 cup of coffee. I should have said no. But there was this petty part of me that wanted her to see exactly what she'd walked away from. Fine. Tomorrow. 3 p.m. That coffee place on 5th we used to go to. Update 2. She arrived 20 minutes early. I could see her through the window, checking her phone obsessively, adjusting her hair in her phone's camera. I walked in right at 3. Hey, she said, standing up like she might hug me. I just nodded and sat down across from her. So I said. So. She smiled nervously. You look really good. Thanks. The car is gorgeous. It's reliable. Right, of course. Awkward laugh. Look, I wanted to apologize for how everything ended. I was going through a lot mentally, and I took it out on you unfairly. Okay. She looked confused. That's all. What else do you want? I don't know. Maybe that you forgive me? That we could, potentially try again. I took a sip of my coffee. Who was the guy at the grocery store? Her face flushed red. We went out a couple times. He's not important. Looked pretty comfortable together. We went on maybe 3 dates. It's completely casual. But you moved on quick enough. You're the one with the new car and the startup job. I'm working, Brooke. That's what adults do after losing a job. I didn't wallow in self-pity. That's not fair. You dumped me in a restaurant because I lost my job. You explicitly said you couldn't date an unemployed guy. And now you want another shot because you saw me doing okay? Explain how that's fair to me. She went quiet for a long moment. Then, what's the salary like? I'm sorry, what? At the startup. What do they pay you? I stared at her in disbelief. That's really what this is about. No. I'm curious, that's all. Right. I stood up. This was a bad idea. Wait, please. I hope things work out with your new guy. Or whoever comes next. Take care of yourself. I left. She didn't follow me out. Update 3. I assumed that would be the end of it. I was very wrong. Over the following 3 weeks, Brooke tried everything. She came to my apartment building twice. I saw her from my window and didn't buzz her up. She sent these long, rambling texts about personal growth and understanding what really matters now. She even somehow found Tyler's contact information and messaged him on LinkedIn asking about the company structure and my role. He showed me the messages, pretty concerned. Dude, your ex is asking me about equity compensation packages. What's happening? She's trying to calculate if I'm actually successful or just pretending. That's legitimately crazy. Yeah, I'm aware. Then, about 4 weeks after that disastrous coffee meeting, I got a message from her close friend Lauren. We'd always been friendly. Hey, this is awkward, but I think you should know something. Can I call? I agreed. She called within 90 seconds. So, Brooke is kind of spiraling, Lauren said bluntly. She's been internet stalking you constantly, asking literally everyone we know if they've heard anything about your job. Someone told her your company just got another huge funding round. Yeah, we closed Series B 2 weeks ago. $18 million. Holy shit. Okay, so here's the thing. She's been telling people that you two are on a break and that you're definitely getting back together. She's literally planning your future like it's already decided. We're not. I was extremely clear that we're finished. I know you were. But she's not accepting reality. And there's more. What? That guy she was seeing? She broke it off with him 4 days after she saw you in the parking lot. Told him she's still in love with her ex-boyfriend. I'm pretty sure she thinks if she just waits you out, you'll eventually cave and come back. I felt a headache building. What do you think I should do? I think you need to tell her, in absolutely explicit terms, that it's never happening. Because she's living in complete fantasy land, and it's getting worse by the day. So I sent Brooke one final text. We are not getting back together. Not now. Not in the future. Not ever. I need you to stop contacting me, stop asking our friends about me, and genuinely move on with your life. I already have. I truly wish you well, but we are completely done. Please respect that boundary. She replied in under 10 seconds. You don't really mean that. You're just hurt and lashing out. I get it. When you're ready to have a real conversation like adults, I'll be here waiting. I blocked her number immediately. Blocked her on every social media platform, email, everything. Final update. It's been almost 5 months since I sent that final message. Life has been genuinely great. Better than I could have imagined, honestly. The company is absolutely thriving. We're projected to hit profitability next quarter, and there are already preliminary acquisition conversations happening with 2 major players in the industry. If either deal goes through, my equity stake will be worth somewhere between $1.40 and $2.1 million, depending on the final terms. Tyler promoted me to VP of Marketing and gave me a seat on the advisory board last month. I haven't heard directly from Brooke, but the mutual friend Grapevine keeps me loosely informed. Apparently, she cycled through several short-lived relationships, each ending poorly. Lauren told me she got let go from the hotel for excessive absences. Turns out she'd been calling in sick regularly, so she could spend hours online trying to dig up information about me and the company. Last I heard, she'd moved back in with her parents in the suburbs. I've been on a few dates here and there, but nothing serious yet. Honestly, I'm just focused on my work and rediscovering who I am outside of that relationship. Turns out I'm doing pretty damn well on my own. The strangest part? Sometimes I replay that moment in the restaurant. The look on her face when she said she couldn't date an unemployed guy. And I think about how close I came to begging her to reconsider, to pleading for another chance to prove I'd land on my feet. I'm grateful I stayed silent. I'm grateful I let her leave. Because the version of me she wanted, insecure, desperate, grateful for whatever scraps of affection she'd throw my way, that person doesn't exist anymore. Maybe he never really did. Edit 1. A few people asked if I ever found out the real reason she left. A mutual acquaintance told me months later that Brooke had actually been talking to that guy for several weeks before the breakup. She was already planning her exit strategy. My job loss just gave her a convenient excuse that made her look less heartless. Edit 2. Yes, I'm still at the company. We just opened a second office and hired our 60th employee last week. Still feels surreal sometimes. Edit 3. No, I will not be reaching out to her. That door is permanently closed and locked.